say about this game. I mean, it was absolutely abysmal, absolute trash, travesty, just absolute garbage, terrible. I got some takeaways. But sitting here and honing in on the stats, I don't know if we should do that, but we'll take a look. But good God Almighty, bro. Good God Almighty. I have some concerns. And obviously my cat can tell because she jumped up here. She was like, "Oh, you need some emotional support." Maybe she's saying that. Or she just wants more attention. Okay, all right. They deserve better than this, but before we get into anything, big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this segment. If you guys are interested in daily fantasy sports, go check it out. Use the promo code CLAN and you get a 100% match up to $100. Or if you don't care about any of that, just use it for sports social media, in which you get to see updates on injuries, updates on what's going on around the league. Obviously, they have this Keldon Johnson poster right here. Look how beautiful this is. Look how beautiful that is. Bang. Yeah, but it's a bunch of stuff on here. You can just kind of see what's going on around the NBA if that's something you are interested in. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this game. So you got to get down. I know. I'm going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. Me and the chat, we're all going to be okay. We don't necessarily need you right now. Okay. We don't necessarily need you right now. Okay, girl? You go play. You go do cat stuff. This game was terrible, y'all. It was terrible. So first and foremost, just from player to player, we'll just go player to player. Maybe I should just bring up the stats. Spurs, she came back up here. Spurs, ESPN. Let's go to stats. So our San Antonio Spurs get their first loss of the season, right? And was it a loss? It was a loss for the ages because they got absolutely steamrolled, whooped on. And you would have thought that, oh, maybe it was just, a really hard fought game, 118 to 130. If you didn't watch this game, I can just go ahead and sum it up to you right now. Am I freezing? Why am I moving? Why are my frames so bad? Why are my frames so bad? But I can sum it up to you like this, okay? The Spurs showed little to no effort whatsoever. I mean, that's really what it came down to. Little effort whatsoever. The Phoenix Suns, it's nothing they did special. The Spurs also, coaching-wise, stayed in a zone the entire game, which I'll be transparent and say I don't really understand why we were in a zone for so long. It wasn't working. It didn't help. Phoenix Suns were hot tonight. Obviously, you score 130 points. I think their three-point percentage. What was their three-point percentage? I feel like they hit like 70% of them. Let's see. They hit 57%. So they were nearly 60% from three to our 24% from three. But when I say that the Spurs showed little effort, I mean they showed little effort. It was absolutely pathetic. Devin Vassell had a negative 23. I was like, well, what do you do with that? Wembanyama, most of the game, I think the whole first half, he only had like 2 points. And you would have thought, oh, they're doing something special on Wemby. They're just doubling him like every other team has done. And one thing that really bothered me was I actually did listen to the Spurs commentators this time. And Sean Elliott was sitting there like, oh, you're not going to win all of them. And, oh, it seems like the Phoenix Suns are really, making all their shots tonight. What do you do with that? And I'm just like, are we watching the same game? Like, there's no effort. Victor Wembanyama looked absolutely disengaged for most of this game. He looked disengaged. He wasn't giving hard screens. He asked for the ball a couple times. Spurs were missing him. I mean, it felt like his rookie year all over again. It was bad, y'all. It was bad. And like, you can excuse a lot of stuff, but you can't excuse the effort. And then by the time that the Spurs kind of picked it up a notch, it was too late. You're about 8 minutes left in the fourth. They have a pretty sizable lead on you. The Spurs go on a run. That's nice. But at this point, it's a little too late. It's almost flipped of what we've seen from some of these other games where the Spurs play so aggressive and in your face and really bothering you up to like the last few minutes, and then they start to waver a little bit. That wasn't like this in this game. It seemed like they were on their heels the entire time, and then the Suns, and then near the end, the Spurs really, picked it up. But it was ugly. It was absolutely ugly. The whole game was ugly. It was not fun to watch. Now, a few standouts, because one thing really scares me, but a few standouts, okay? I thought Keldon Johnson was fine, right? I know if you follow me on Twitter, you saw like I was like pumping up Keldon, like I was really hype, and then he immediately missed 2 free throws, and I'm like, oh my God, come on. But at that point, I didn't have too much faith that we were able to come back in that game. So Keldon Johnson brought the energy, right? Steph Castle, while at the beginning of the game, he really wavered, by the end, he was really picking it up, right? He played really well overall. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. But like I said, Devin Vassell was trash. Victor Wembanyama was trash. Julian Champagnie was fine. I just, you don't expect too much from Julian. But he was fine. For a role player, he was fine. But yeah, just overall, guys, there is no game in which Wembanyama, with his, I hate when people do this, and I guess I'm about to do it, but with his skill and with his height, there is no way, no how. That's like a Ludacris song. That's a whole Ludacris song, isn't it? There's no way, no how Victor Wembanyama should only have 9 points. No way. No way. And to me, that's coaching. I'm not saying Mitch Johnson was a bad coach tonight or anything like that, but I would have liked, especially with that lack of effort, I would have liked for him to just sit a lot of them. Like, I felt like Wemby should have sat. I didn't know if something's going on where like Wemby felt tired or exhausted. I know that last game was pretty rough, but it's been a few days now, so I don't know what was going on there. But I honestly felt like some of these players should have just sat. I mean, I would have been cool with the you throw in David Jones Garcia in there. I do believe, just on a lighter note, I do believe that the Spurs, because we were expecting everybody to basically be back like pretty soon. We thought maybe today, right? Like that's what I was hearing. Like today would have been, but that was a few days ago. But what the Spurs are probably doing is just waiting out until Wednesday. Nationally televised game. Everybody can come back and you're good to go. So that's more than likely what's going to happen, because good God Almighty, you needed them. But Wemby looked exhausted, I guess. He looked disengaged. That was the most thing that I saw. That was the main thing that I saw, where I was like, what is going on with you? And here's another thing, though. When you play as poorly as the San Antonio Spurs played in this game, when you play as trash, hold on, I gotta emphasize that trash. They played like trash, garbage. Indubitably, I don't know why I did that. But when you play that bad, one thing you cannot have happen is the referees ref this game the way that they did. There was a play, I know you guys saw it, when the Spurs were going on a run. The refs called 3 fouls on Castle in a row that were not fouls. They did not let Castle play at all, bro. It was like, what do you do? What is he supposed to do? And especially the third foul, it was just a clean contest, and they called a foul on him. It's like, what do you want him to do? 3 in a row? 3 in a row. Wemby, it was 1 foul they threw on Wemby, which gave him his 3rd, and I thought the Spurs should have just challenged it, because I'm like, it's like the 2nd quarter, and he got 3. This is going to be a dangerous situation, but we didn't challenge it. But Steph, man, I don't know what the heck that was about. They gave that dude 3 fouls in a row. Am I tripping? Where is the personal fouls? Yeah, they gave him 3 in a row. So from that time on, like, he couldn't play defense anymore. It was terrible. So you had the refs doing what they're doing, but you can't play this poorly because you got to make your own luck. The refs were horrible. They were so bad, y'all. They were so bad. If you didn't watch this game, you would have no idea. Like, you would be so confused. Well, actually, even if you watched the game, you were confused. So I can't tell the chat this. All you guys know, you watched the game, so there's no point in me bringing it up to you. But I'm just gonna say this: they called a technical foul, and on this roster right now, I'm trying to look through, and I'm like, who in the world would get a tech? Like, seriously, like with this, who would get a tech? Keldon? You know, maybe I could see Keldon getting a tech, maybe, but the last person I would expect to get a technical foul is Stephon Castle. They gave Stephon Castle a technical. They gave him a technical. And the refs were so bad, they didn't even know his name. They said technical foul on Steven Castle. They didn't even know who he was. Who are these refs? Who are these refs? And it's one thing, guys. It's one thing, okay? It's one thing if he is like an unsigned rookie and, you know, you just screw up the name. He won Rookie of the Year last year. You're an NBA ref and you don't know the name of the guy who won Rookie of the Year? Steven Castle? And also, that tells me, if you don't even know his name, that also tells me that you don't even know the personalities of these players. You don't know how to officiate this game. You don't know how to officiate this game, because he's the last person to get a technical. They replayed it and I was like, oh man, he must have said something really crazy. He did nothing. He did the same thing that any NBA player does when they're a little frustrated, like, oh man, get out of here with that. Technical, execute him. Like, what are you talking about? Get the hounds. Like, what are we talking about? Mitch Johnson got one, which is like, okay, I guess I could see Mitch Johnson getting one, but Stephon Castle, and then you mispronounce his name? What is that, bro? What is that? I don't know what that was about. That made me so irritated. I was like, Castle, I just don't see how you mispronounce his name, and I don't see how you give those technicals to him like that, or a tech on him. Like, he is the most chill person on the team to get a tech. I would expect anybody on the team to get a tech. Maybe minus, like, Harrison Barnes. Like, anybody else but Steph Castle. That was ridiculous. So they were calling fouls back to back. It was ridiculous. I won't say that much of a hostile crowd. I mean, it didn't seem like there was that many fans even out there, honestly. But hey, it is an away game. But when you come in and you don't play with much energy, and it worried me a little bit. Well, I was actually looking forward to this game because after we got down by a good piece, I was like, okay, let's see how the Spurs respond when they're actually down. And they responded like crap. They responded like absolute crap. So a few things. Oh yeah, one more negative thing. So Dylan Harper got hurt in this game as well. So we don't really know the updates on it. He was playing very well, right? He was about to save us like he always been saving us this season when the Spurs start screwing up. But he did get hurt. Came down. It looked like it was non-contact, so that makes me a little worried. It seemed like he get chipped around a lot. I don't know. I won't put that label of like injury prone on Dylan Harper, but he gets beat around a lot. Like, he's always grimacing or holding on to something, or I don't know. He worries me a little bit. But in this game in particular, so he tried to sit on the bench. They took him to the back. That's a bad sign. But, you know, he was back on the bench with the team and everything afterwards. And the fact that he did want to sit on the bench is a big deal, because it shows that he wasn't like agonizing in pain. So we'll see what it is. Hopefully it's nothing crazy. We know, well, I don't say we know, we don't know, but I'm gonna assume that it's not something that's like torn or anything, because that would have been way worse, right? But yeah, so hopefully Dylan Harper is fine, but I'm gonna go ahead and put my money on we're not gonna see him for a few games. Knowing how the Spurs are, I'm gonna make that assumption we're not gonna see him for a few games. So as soon as the Spurs are starting to get everybody back, we lose Dylan Harper, which it's fine, right? The most important pieces that the Spurs need right now are Fox, Sohan, and Cornette. Most important is Fox and Cornette. I think those are the most important because you need a backup center, and we absolutely need a starting point guard to keep this thing calm. And then Sohan is, to me, is like icing on the cake as far as defense, because I don't think that the Suns knock down as many threes. The one thing too, guys, motor is a skill in and of itself. It's very important. And you know, Keldon Johnson has a motor. I never said he didn't. I never seen a game where Keldon Johnson isn't like putting forth effort. He makes mental mistakes, right? But I think a lot of it comes down to, hey, maybe he's just not, you know, good enough for certain situations. But Keldon Johnson brings that motor. I've always seen Keldon Johnson with a high motor, and I've always seen Sohan with a very high motor, right? And shoot, I would even say Castle. I don't think I've seen a game with Castle make mental mistakes sometimes, but I don't see his motor is always there. So they have a high motor. Vic really makes me nervous with this game because this was a big test, because the Spurs, yeah, they went 5-0. We were all excited, which let's be honest, guys, if the media didn't tell us that they were going to go 5-0 and that's the first thing we ever did, that no one would care. We wouldn't care, because that just seems like something we would have done before, right? Like, we won championships before. You would assume that maybe we start off the season 5-0. Like, that doesn't seem that big a deal. But the Spurs are really excited about it. Obviously, we had a good time with it. But I was curious on how the Spurs would respond after such an emotional, physical game of the last one. And I can deal with us losing, okay? There's a few games this season we could have lost. I do not mind losing. It's okay. Like, you're going to lose some. I know we're going to make the playoffs, and I think we're going to be a high seed, but you're going to lose some games. I can deal with it. But what I can't deal with is lack of effort. And it seemed like the Spurs just wasn't there. Like, Wemby wasn't there, y'all. Like, defensively, he came alive. Like, he's Wemby, right? He came alive eventually, got the 4 blocks. But he didn't seem as disciplined as he was, you know, the first 5 games. You know, he looked a little bit out of control, almost like he was back in his rookie year. And that's going to happen sometimes. But him not scoring, or not, like, forcing his will in a game like this where everybody seems low energy, except for a few guys, right? Steph Castle, Keldon, Dylan Harper, even Carter Bryant. I give Carter Bryant that too. He wasn't low. He's never low effort though. But with you being the leader, you can't go into this game, bro, and not have effort. You can't go into this game and you see how much your team is struggling, and you see how the Suns are just putting up numbers on us, and y'all not figure it out. Even the place in which they were giving Victor the ball was very strange. It was close to the 3-point line, like near the baseline 3-point line. It's like, what are we doing? Why aren't we being patient, allowing Wemby to get positioning? Why aren't we moving when Wemby has the ball? Why are we just standing around? But yeah, if Wemby should have fought a little harder, guys. I'm sorry. Biyombo is trash. Well, he's just not a backup center. So Harper's soft. Nobody said Harper's soft. You must be talking to somebody else. Harper's not soft. He just get hurt a lot. I don't mean he's soft, but I don't know. Maybe he just gotta, you know, build a little muscle on him. Wemby's not a winner. Oh, calm down. We're not saying all that. Hold on. Can I make this a little bigger? Because I can't see you guys right now. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah, nobody's saying all that. Wemby's not a winner. I never said that. Yeah, never said that. L takes right now? Oh, you mean through the chat? Yeah, calm down. Wemby is a winner. I'm just saying in this game, Wemby has to attack. Where's Cavs to blame, Sohan? Yeah, for real. But yeah, so not a lot of positives to come out of this one. The only positives I have is we're going to get some guys back, but I would have felt much better about this loss if I thought that the Spurs tried harder. You know, can't be celebrating off your 5-0. And I also would have enjoyed seeing Mitch Johnson sit everybody And I know we got that pop in us, right? But like sit everybody at this point because the effort was low. The only guys that should have been playing that got regular minutes is Dylan Harper and Keldon, right? I would have liked to see more Garcia. Throw Minix in there. Just screw it. Guys that's hungry. What are we doing? Wake them up a little bit. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking for. Yeah, I feel like it was something else I was going to say about this game. What am I missing? There's something else that I took from it. Let's see, Devin, Wimby. Maybe that is it. Oh, no, I know what I was going to say. I didn't bring it up. No, I actually did bring it up last game. But it's kind of hard to grasp, right? Like, so one thing that's bothered me last year with Mitch Johnson was that he kind of holds on to a group of guys, right? Like, I was constantly advocating for other players to play. Like, I felt like you need to find a way to get Malachi in that game. You need to find ways to get Blake Wesley in these games, just so guys can get a little rest, right? And I wasn't convinced that you can't use them at all because Popovich managed to do it, and it was fine, right? For the most part, it was fine. So I just felt like, hey, you need to find a way to use these guys. In a game like this, and I feel like throughout this, short season so far, we've kind of held on to our group of guys. There's been some good rotations, but in a long 82 game season, you're not going to manage to do that, right? Like, you can't keep doing that. You can't play a only subset of guys almost like we're already in the playoffs, right? The people are going to get exhausted. I'm not saying you shouldn't be this exhausted by game 6. Okay, let me throw that out there. But it made me a little worried. But the only thing that kind of holds me back from like getting too worried about it is the fact that we're missing like a bunch of people. But in a game like this would have been the excuse to play some other guys. But yeah, I've never been looking more forward to taking a look at a post-game show. Or not post-game show, a press conference than I am tonight. But yeah, Carter was awful in the minutes he played in the first half. Offensively, but defensively, he was nasty, bro. He was nasty. We just need a little bit of effort. I can deal with a loss, y'all. I can deal with a 20-point loss. If you just so good and you just beat up on us, fine. But the Suns punched us in the mouth and we never punched back. A few players did, but for the most part, as a team, we never punched back. And it starts with Vic. You guys know I love Victor Wembanyama, but it starts with Vic. All those people that's like, oh, you only get on to certain players. No, dude, no. I'm just honest. Vic should have been better tonight. And maybe I wouldn't be as harsh. I wouldn't be as harsh if I didn't know how good he can be. Like, I wouldn't be as harsh if I didn't know how good he could be. But you're a superstar. 9 points? You don't even get to 10? 9? Get to the rim. Do what you flop. I mean, I'm a Manu Ginobili enthusiast, okay? Flop. By the way, Steph Castle got to learn how to flop. That was not a good flop. He tried too hard on it. A flop. Do something. Get to the line. You're 7'7". You have incredible skill. You've gotten stronger over the offseason. How do you take only 14 shots? Steph Castle took more. Keldon took the same amount. How do you take 14 shots and you don't get to the free throw line? I know these refs suck, but there's a multitude of players that got to the free throw line. Barnes, Julian Champagnie, Steph Castle, Keldon, Garcia. In 5 minutes, he got to the line. I mean, Carter Bryant. I always mess up his name. LaClaughlin? Dylan Harper? You can't get to the line? He got to do better. He's better than that. No, refs did suck, but you got to find a way, bro. And one thing that I've said before, Wemby doesn't have that many flaws, but one big flaw about Wemby is, well, last year it was conditioning, right? His first 2 years it was conditioning. But one thing that I really think is a flaw is his inability to engage with refs. McLaughlin, thank you. His inability to engage with refs is a big issue, in my opinion, in my books. I think he takes it on the chin too often. And he said before, like, oh, I don't like to play politics when it comes to the refs or whatever. Bro, you got to, bro. You got to. Every grade has done it. You got to do it. Learn by their names. Complain. Talking about Steph Castle got a tech. I would have liked to see Vic get a tech tonight. As much as they were pushing him around and punching on him, and him diving for a ball, and Booker smacking him around. It's like, get in those refs, man. Create a little chaos. Wake your team up. You're our leader. Your number's number one. You chose number one because you want to be number one, which he actually said that. That's not even like a joke. Be it. Wemby's better than that. Look at this man. Look at this man's game log. Look at this man's game log. Look at this. Miami was way more physical. They were way harder to deal with. Our boy put up 23 shots. 23 shots. Got to the line 3 times. 4 times, sorry. Got to the line 4 times. That's what you need to do. 9 rebounds. Well, I guess they didn't miss a shot. But still. Look at this stat line. If I showed you this stat line and I hid Wembanyama's name, who would you think this was? You would have been like, well, I guess the 4 blocks would have gave it away maybe, but you probably would have been like, 14 shots, pretty bad percentage. Looked like Devin Vassell had a bad night tonight. No, this is Wemby. Anyways, Spurs will have a lot of guys back soon. And I would have just felt more enthusiastic about it if they would have showed effort in this game. But we're down a lot of guys. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. We're down a lot of guys. And the fact that the Spurs managed to fight through as many games as they have thus far, those first 5, speaks volumes to their character. And I just expected more out of them this game. And I never in my life want to see Wemby only put up 9 points ever. I would 9 points is fine if you were 4 and 50. I want to go 4 and 50, bro. In this type of game, you need a Wemby to just figure something out. But that's him and the coaching staff. They gotta. I don't know why we were giving Wemby the ball so early without him positioning first. It was ridiculous. He was so far away from the basket. And Wemby was able to show his strength a few times in this game. So it wasn't a matter of last year's problem where he just wasn't strong enough. But yeah, another telltale sign on how you could see how Wemby was so off this game. 6 turnovers, man. He started off the season with 0 turnovers, 2, 4, and 3, and then he doubled that tonight. Gave us 6. But yeah, we're out a lot of guys. I know that was very negative. We're out a lot of guys. It's just I can't stomach how they played most of this game. I just can't. I can't stomach it. It was so hard to watch when I've seen a Spurs team play with so much effort. So this isn't me like throwing in the white towel or whatever. Is it white towel? Is that what they say? I don't know. Throwing in the towel, waving the white flag. That's probably what I meant to say. It's not me saying that the season's over, everything's trash, everything's garbage. Tonight, they were horrible. And we got a lot of guys that's going to come back, and we'll be fine. And the effort will be back. But I don't like that. I don't like it. But it happens, I guess.